are we moving the HSA from Wells Fargo? The short answer is because that starting January 1, there are going to be fees assessed to each and every one of us that we just don't think are right. And it's nice to have somebody local that we can work with. Beginning January 1, that $3.75 fee that you may have seen on your statement where they assess it and then they take it back off. Well, because they were partners, HSA partners with Medical Mutual was paying that fee this whole time. So that's why it was coming back off. Medical Mutual's not going to do that anymore. And honestly, why should we pay them $45 a year, individually pay them $45 a year for our money just to sit there? They're not managing an investment account. They're not doing all kinds of fun things of, moving your money from stocks to bonds or whatever, but they want to charge you $3.75 a month, $45 a year, for the privilege of you letting them have your money, which is just ridiculous. It doesn't seem to matter how much you have in the account. It's just a fee. So that's part of it. The other part is by working with someone local like Superior, we're not going to have this problem, this lag from when the check gets cut, when your payroll deduction happens, and the money gets sent to Wells Fargo, and God only knows how long it's going to take them to get it deposited into your account. They're local. The check is going to get cut, the payroll deduction is going to happen, and it's going to happen a heck of a lot faster than the 12 to 14 to however many days it has been taking to this point. So that's a plus as well. So there are no fees, monthly fees, maintenance fees with Superior. They're local. We can talk to them. We can go actually talk to a real person and not peck your way through an automated system or try to find out an answer online. They do still have a lot of online bells and whistles that you can utilize. If you like to do online banking, you like to have mobile apps and e-alerts and all of that, you can now have that with your HSA account as well through them. So there's lots of good things that Joyce is going to be talking about. The downside to moving, all the cards on the table, is that Wells Fargo is going to charge each and every one of us $25 to close our accounts and move the money to Superior. The only way around that, and the board has not approved this yet, by the way, but the only way around that, after much badgering, was to get them to finally say, well, yeah, we will let the employer cut one check to cover all of those fees. There's 128 of us that are in the HSA, times $25 is about $3,200. We'll take that $3,200, but the catch is every single person, all 128 people, have to close their accounts, and all of that paperwork has to be turned in at the same time with that check. That's the catch. Not everybody is going to be at a place where they're comfortable doing that. I realize this. Look at it this way, though. It's $25 to close your account versus $45 a year to keep it there. I also asked them, well, what if you just spend it down to zero? Is there still going to be a fee? She said, no, there won't be a closure fee. But if you spend it down to zero and you leave the account open, we'll charge you $3.75, and then you'll be in an overdraft situation, so then there will be overdraft fees. So you can't win with these people, apparently. I'm not a financial advisor. I can't tell you what to do with your accounts. What I can tell you is that if the board were to approve it, and the next board meeting is not until December 22nd, but if the board were to approve it, and if all 128 people got their paperwork turned into HR in time, let's say December 31st, in time, and we got that check, and we got it sent in, then that $25 closure fee would be covered. But again, the board hasn't approved that yet, partly because it's relying on 128 people to get all of their ducks in a row, all of their I's dotted, all of their T's crossed, and be in a position to be able to do that in a certain period of time to do it. Versus some folks may have ongoing bills right now, that Joyce is going to talk about how to finesse that situation. If you have ongoing bills, what do you do? Because you can't really fall into a gap where you can't pay for something because you're in limbo. So there's a lot of things to think about and a lot of things we're going to talk about today. And this is another good reason to take Joyce up on her offer to be here on the 14th and talk to her one-on-one and decide what's going to work best for you and how to best work this out. So that's my preamble to the whole situation. I'm going to turn it over to Joyce. And Ann, there's a chair over here. And let her, now, this will only last as long as you've got questions. She'll stick around and answer some questions one-on-one. You can come back on the 14th. Again, you've got her business card. You can call her. We're going to go through what's in your packet, what forms, one form at a time, what they are, and how they work. So try not to jump ahead and ask her about a form that we're not even talking about yet, and things will, because we'll get to that, and we'll probably answer your question just by going over the form. Joyce.
Yep, but stop me at any time for questions. My name is Joyce Williams, and I work at Superior Credit Union for the past 17 years. I've been there. I'm a financial services officer, which is a branch manager, actually. I manage the Shawnee office. One of our HSA experts, if you will. So that's why I'm here, to help you guys out and get you started. Again, jump in anytime as we go through this. I'm going to tell you a little bit about Superior to start. Superior is a non-for-profit financial cooperative, which means every member of the credit union is an owner. We don't have a paid board of directors. We don't have stockholders. Everyone who belongs to Superior is an owner of the credit union. Everyone has to have a share in the credit union, which means a deposit and a savings account of at least $25. So everyone who's a member has to have that. Now, there's probably several of you who aren't members, so what Superior is going to do for you, because you're already going to have to maybe lose $25 to Wells Fargo, we're going to put $25 in the savings for any non-members who are going to have to sign up with Superior for the first time. So you won't have to incur that expense as well. So that's going to be put in a savings account in your name. You can't take it out while you're a member because that's your minimum balance, but when you leave Superior, that is your money and you'll take that with you. That won't ever come back to Superior then. Okay? Questions on that? Superior was chartered in 1954 to serve members of Superior Bus Company, which most of us think of as Superior Coach. Today, we have over 54,000 members and we serve 17 counties. So in 54 years, 53 years, it's been quite a bit of change and growth and probably will continue to do so. It's growing literally every day. One of the advantages of being at Superior and being an owner of the credit union is that we generally return back to our members what a bank would be keeping for profit or a larger financial institution back to you in things like no-fee health savings accounts. Most of your larger banks are going to charge you a monthly fee. They may charge you a fee to establish, charge you a fee to close it. You can open this today and you can close it tomorrow and it's not going to cost you a dime. We don't have any fees on any of our checking accounts, and an HSA is a type of checking. So the $25 fee at Wells Fargo, as much as it stinks, if it does end up you have to pay that, you'll recoup that in 8 months of no monthly service charges having your account at Superior. So hopefully that makes you feel a little bit better about that fee. Okay, any questions about me or Superior? I'm going to go on with savings accounts. Did you want to talk about, because you did the first meeting and then I addressed it too, how they have to have all the money in at once?
Oh.
It has to be one check, like
Yes, that's
everyone
okay.
has to have already joined.
The other thing that is a bit of a headache is, you know how as everyone knows, you're contributing through payroll deduction to your HSA. Each paycheck, a certain whatever amount you've designated, goes into your HSA. And the board is also making contributions to your HSA. The board does that in one lump amount from the board. There's the amount that goes to the board. Now, the problem that we have with Superior, and this is the only problem we have with Superior, is because the board does not have and cannot by law have an account with a credit union if every person, all 128 people, do not have their accounts open, say in January when the first board allotment would go in, the accounts are not up and running, nobody is going to get their board allotment because it's all in one amount. It can't sit there in Superior's coffers and wait for you and you to get yours in and you back there because the rest of you over here are good to be doled out in the increments it needs to be doled out in, whether you're single or family. It's kind of an all or nothing thing. So as we work through this paperwork today and as you meet with Joyce later, the most important piece of paper that you need to fill out in there is, where's that? Is you need to become a member and open that account so that your January allotment from the board and your January payroll deductions have a place to go. Because there will not be going into the Wells Fargo account. Those accounts for the board's portion and the payroll deduction portion are being shut off, basically. Now, there is a way you could potentially keep your Wells Fargo health savings account open and continue to contribute to it, but it won't be through payroll deduction, so it won't be pre-tax. So why would you do that? That just seems silly to me. Now, it's up to you. Talk to Joyce. Think about it. But in order for everybody to get their payroll contributions in January and their board allotment in January, you have to fill this one out and get your account open. And this is the first form that Joyce is going to go over with. Yes?
Do we need to do it if we're already a member of Superior?
Yes, because this is a separate account.
Okay.
And she's going to go over that in a little more detail.
Yes, I just wanted to make sure everyone was aware how important it was, and I know Kat expressed that in the first meeting, that everyone gets their paperwork in that's gonna have the Superior HSA. We can't take a check and say there's one person with $200 that for some reason hasn't gotten their account open yet. I can't take the check that I get from the county and deposit all of it but $200, because that $200 I can't do anything with. There's a crazy law on the books that says public funds cannot be deposited into a credit union. So it's not that we don't want to put your money on deposit, we can't. The board could get in a lot of trouble if they deposited $50 in an account at Superior Credit Union. They're just not allowed, so call your lawmakers. And we will go ahead and go over this brochure then. Even if you are a member, that was a good question, because everyone needs to fill this out. If you open it up, it's got information for you, and it says a joint member. The joint member, we're going to assume at this point, is going to also be another signer on your HSA. So a spouse or a child or anybody else that's covered under your insurance could also be here. If you already have an account with us, this is going to double as a signature card for your HSA as well. So when your account was open, your membership, this may be a little different. So we do need this filled out, whether you're a member of Superior or not.
Okay, I'm sorry, you lost me. You said
That's okay, this part's confusing. It is.
the joint member, you add on everybody that's in your insurance, on your insurance?
Anybody who's gonna have a card and go out and spend money off your HSA. So if you've got children, you're probably not gonna want your children on there, unless you have like a child in college that has to have their own debit card and their own checks to access the HSA, then we're gonna want them on here as well. So if you have more than one person besides yourself that's gonna need cards and need checks off your HSA, see me, call me, email me, you have my card in your packet, or come to this meeting and let me know, and I can take care of that for you. Most of them, one joint member is gonna do what we need to do, so that's all I put in there. but we can definitely add more signers should we need to do that.
And you don't have to check the stuff on the side,
Yeah, there's a place over here to check mark what you're opening and an amount. Don't worry about this little leaflet off to the right. Just fill out the personal information and sign the bottom. And I need a copy of a driver's license for everyone who's gonna be signing this form or be signing anything on the HSA. That's due to the Patriot Act. We're not trying to get driver's license information, but we are required now by the government to ID, make sure we have a good ID on all of our members. So that's why we have to have that.
You need a picture of our ID or just the information of it?
It has to be the picture of the ID.
Now, if I already have an account at Superior, will I need to get a copy of my driver's license for this other account, or?
I mean, if we have a recent one, if we have the one now that's not expired on file, then no, but unless you know that, or you can call me and ask me. Just give me a call, I'm out of the office tomorrow, call me Wednesday or email me and say, hey, do you have the most recent picture of my ID, and then I won't need it. Okay? Anything else on these brochures? Yeah,
Okay, I'm just a single person.
uh-huh.
Do I just fill out the member part?
Yep, you just fill out the top part, sign the bottom. Yep, that's all we'll need. And that's gonna, like I said, this will be your signature card for the share account we're gonna open for you and for the HSA. There may be some instances we run into where this signature is gonna be different than the other, or the signers. We'll handle those on a case-by-case basis, but this is gonna cover 90% of them doing it this way. Okay, is that it on this form? Okay. There's a sheet like this in your packet. This just explains HSAs in general, which you have them now, so you're all know a little bit about HSAs, but it also tells some specific things about superiors at the bottom. For example, no enrollment fee, no minimum balance. So when you open them, we're gonna open them with a 0 balance. That's not gonna be feed. Free online access. It earns interest if you have at least $300 in your account. It's 0.15, so it's minimal, but it's better than a fee. No monthly fee. Free debit card and unlimited check writing. Also, we didn't put on here, but for you guys, we're gonna do your first box of checks is free as well. In this day and age, a box of checks lasts most of us a really long time. I don't write them anymore. Okay, on the other side of the packet, the first form is called Health Savings Application. Trying to make it easy as possible, because I know this is cumbersome for all of you, and there's a lot of repetition in the forms that you have to fill out. So on a couple of the forms that have the highlighted areas, you only have to fill out what's highlighted. So on this form, I need your name and your personal information at the top. I need to know if it's a self or family plan. You don't have to fill out section number 2, because you're not gonna be contributing on the day we open it. And fill out section 3 if there's a beneficiary. Keep in mind with the beneficiary as well, like, if you have an HSA and your husband is only a signer on it, you're gonna wanna probably make him the beneficiary, because he doesn't own it. If he can sign it, he still doesn't own it, so something to.
So even though this says joint owner, he would just be a signature.
On the HSA, yeah, he's just a signer only. According to IRS rules, an HSA is an individual account. We can't have a joint HSA. That would make it easier for all of us, but we can't do it that way. And then you do need to sign page 2 on that form. So are there any more questions on the application?
Do you have to have a beneficiary?
You don't have to have. No. There was a question earlier too about the primary or contingent. Primary would be if something happened to you. Contingent would be if something happened to you and your primary. So if it were you and your spouse and something happened to both of you, contingent would be whoever you put after that. Okay, there's also a distribution form. All you have to do is sign this. You don't have to fill anything out. The IRS says we have to have a signed distribution form for HSA distributions explaining what you're doing with the money. Okay, we're just gonna put one blanket form that says ongoing distributions is needed. And by us doing that, every time you wanna write a check or use your debit card, you don't have to write in and fill out one of these forms, which would be ridiculous. So we have one blanket distribution form at the beginning of the HSA that will keep on file for you forever.
Still need our name and address, everything is fine.
Signature's okay. Yeah, signature's fine. We'll fill those out for you later. That's something we can get done. Wells Fargo's form is in here to close your account. This one you are gonna need to fill out completely and sign the bottom. These need to go back to Kat as soon as you get them filled out. It does have a place for your Wells Fargo account number, and those are on your statements. Or I think when Julie was in here, she said she has, she can get them for you too.
You do not have to fill in the line that says reason for closure. That one's not a required field. You don't have to put that in there. We were talking earlier that that space probably isn't big enough for us to all tell Wells Fargo what we think of them. So, but that's not required, so you don't have to fill that particular part out. The, how you would like to receive your distribution has already been checked for you, so you don't have to worry about that section down here at the bottom. You really only have to worry about the areas that are required up here and your signature, and then the date at the bottom, so it's pretty straightforward. If you don't know your account number, we do have those on file, we can look them up for you.
Would they be on the debit card? Would that-
Not necessarily.
Doesn't have to be a different number. I know like with us, the debit card number is different than an account. Okay, any questions? You guys are ready to go home.
Yeah, we had a lot more questions earlier.
That's
Kat,
good.
I have one question.
Sure.
December 22nd is our last day of school,
Uh-huh.
so if we need these in, like, how are we gonna know about the money with the board and all that?
Well, December 22nd is also the board meeting,
Right.
so it would be great if all 128 people, if they decide to do this, got that, and it's just the Wells Fargo form that we need in right away, got that in by the 21st, so then we could go to the board and say, hey, all 128 people have jumped through this hoop. Would you be willing to cover that cost for them? And then we can email everybody as soon as we know. First of all, if all 128 forms come in, that's the first step. Second step is, will the board authorize that $3,200, which they would have to do at their board meeting. And then we can email people like that next morning. I'm presuming most of you have access to your email when you're not here, through your phones or some other means. So we can let you know as soon as we know.
So if the board does not approve it, then do we write a check to Wells Fargo to?
No,
or
they will
take it out of
deduct,
our account?
they will deduct that out of the money that is currently in your account.
Okay.
Yes.
So, for December,
Or is there still gonna be money put in from the board into the Wells Fargo?
Yes, December contributions will still go to Wells Fargo. January is when the contributions start going to Superior. Martha, the question earlier was when in December does the board contribution go in? Is it,
It's usually the first of December, but remember we have 3 pays,
right, that's what got everyone confused.
so that last pay has to get into, it will probably get in to Wells Fargo early January before Wells Fargo gets that last payment in.
So we have 3 pays in December. The December 30th pay actually covers a couple weeks before, even the cutoff is prior to that, for that pay period.
Right, but we still, I mean, people have it filled out and have that taken out of their pay, so that will be taken out of that third pay also.
That will be taken out of the third pay also. Okay. 'Cause Wells Fargo is notified, has been notified that the board contributions will cease December 31st.
The board contribution
Yes,
will be
and that's
done
still
at the
true.
beginning of December.
It's the beginning of December.
But the employee's portion will have to come out of that third pay.
All right, I will email them and let them know about that.
You're also gonna need to let them know that that's a 2015 contribution when you send it to them.
Not a 16.
For people that max out, or that's gonna mess their 2016 up.
We always tell them, first and last.
There was another hand over here. Yes?
So we will be able to pay for medical expenses through December 31st, or through Wells Fargo?
With the Wells Fargo account, yes. Yes. Because even if the, okay, let's assume that we meet all of our timelines, we get all 128 people to turn in their Wells Fargo form, and the board says, yes, we're going to pay that $3,200, then we have to let the courthouse know that we need that bill paid. So that is really not going to get to Wells Fargo until January. So you'll be able to use your Wells Fargo account through December. So your account's really not gonna, transfer's really not gonna happen probably until mid-January.
Will there be a lag time in January when you are being
Potentially. One of the reasons, the question was, will there be a lag time between the two accounts in January? One of the reasons why I mentioned early that little brochure, get that Superior account open quickly, because your January contributions, payroll deduction and board, are going to go into the Superior account. So that money will start building in January. The sooner you get that account open, the sooner you'll get those debit cards and that first box of checks and can start utilizing that account. The transfer, I'm told, from Wells Fargo, once they get the paperwork, should only take 7 to 10 days. That kind of hinges, it can take up to 30, but what they told me was it usually doesn't take that long unless you have investments tied to your HSA account. I don't know, because it's not my business to know, how you've managed your accounts, if you've used the investment option that Wells Fargo has, if you even knew there was an investment option that Wells Fargo had tied to your HSAs. If you've used, say you had a lot of money in your HSA because you're blessed with great health, and you've been here a long time and you've built that account up, maybe you took some of that money and transferred it electronically through Wells Fargo to the investment options that they had. If you did that, it can take up to 30 days because they have to pull the investments, close the investments. I'm going to go out on a limb and bet most of us have not done that, and it would be 7 to 10 days to get the money out of Wells Fargo over to Superior.
So any of you who have something ongoing right now that are really concerned about that money in Wells Fargo and the 7 to 10 days it could take them to process it, then mail it to us. Sign up for these meetings up here, I would suggest, to see me, because there is a way around that. We can have you write a check to yourself, deposit it in your HSA here, that's called a rollover. You can do it once every 12 months. Probably don't want to do that unless you feel you need to. So if you have questions on that lag time, and you're worried about that, I would say sign up for those one-on-one meetings, so we can discuss your cases individually.
Before somebody asks, now we're talking about transferring our funds that are in Wells Fargo to Superior. The transfer is not the same as a rollover?
No,
Okay.
no.
Because you can do a rollover once every 12 months.
Transfers, you can do as much as
Okay, so,
is necessary.
okay,
A transfer doesn't report to the IRS at all.
but a rollover does.
A rollover will report, but then you're also gonna report your rollover contribution, so it's not gonna be taxable, there's just gonna be an extra form at tax time.
Yeah.
So that's why if you feel like I'm gonna be okay for a couple weeks, and if I have a medical provider, they'll wait, you know, and you're comfortable with that, that's fine, and most of us luckily fit into that situation, but some have things going on right now, and they need to have access to that money. Sign up to see me on the 14th, because we're gonna need to discuss it. And if you can't make it then, you can call me, you can email me, you come to my office, I'll come out here an extra day if I need to do that. So I wanna meet with any of you that might have that situation.
Who do we turn our forms in when we fill them out?
The HSA forms,
I'm gonna fill
those,
the whole packet out and give it to Kat,
You
and
can
then
give
I'll
it to me?
come collect them.
if you wanna get them into me before the 14th, we can give them to her when she's here on the 14th. If you set up a meeting with her for the 14th, you can give it to her at that time. We'll work with it, whatever works best for you.
I want to try to get it done as timely as possible, so for those of you who are comfortable with this and you get it turned in, I'm gonna call Kat in a couple days, and if she has a pile of them, I'm gonna come in and get them and start working on them, so that when Wells Fargo is ready to do the transfer, we're ready for it too. Last thing I want to do is hold anybody up, so I want to be working on your stuff as quick as I can. I don't want to pressure anybody into doing something they're not comfortable with though, so take your time, but let me know if you need help with something.
My account, I don't know that I wanna roll it over or transfer it, because I will not have the county board of insurance next year. I'm on my husband's insurance, so
Mhm.
therefore, I don't qualify for employee contributions to the HSA.
Uh-huh.
Do I still transfer it over to Superior?
You could,
That's up to you.
it's your money to do whatever
You're
you
gonna
like
have that
with
monthly
it.
service charge at Wells Fargo.
Right.
If you transfer it, you're not. So if all you're gonna do is put it in Superior to spend it down, if it's going in 6 months, we're not gonna charge you anything for that.
You would avoid that fee, monthly fee.
For this joint owner, is that only if somebody else is on the account?
If someone else is on the account, or if anybody else can sign checks on your
So even
HSA.
if, like my husband's not in this insurance,
Correct.
I would.
Yeah, he could still,
He could still,
you want to still authorize him to use your HSA card or your checks, then he could be a joint owner on, or joint signer on this. That would be fine. It's not necessity that he be on it.
Let me quickly go over this checklist that's in here. It's just got a list of everything that's in the packet and everything that I'm gonna need you to return to me. That's gonna make it a little easier as you're getting your packets put together. It does for me, so I wanna let you know it's there.
Any other questions for Joyce, for me?
Some of you may have drug companies that you're dealing with, or medical providers that you're dealing with, who have your numbers on file. If that's the case, as soon as you get your new ones, you're gonna wanna get that changed. The first time you use your new card, just keep that in the back of your mind, that you will need that.
If you use Walgreens, for example, and you're set up for Express Pay, they've already got your HSA debit card information in their system, you don't have to swipe anything, you just say use Express Pay, it's a no-brainer. You're going to need to update that Express Pay information.
We do have online banking. Once you get your membership set up, you can register for that. And then you can do either monthly statements mailed to you or e-statements, which just sends you like an electronic file to keep on your computer if you'd like, print out if you would want to do that. Once you've signed up for the online banking, we have an app that goes on your phone. You can sign up for e-alerts, there's several e-alerts that you can choose from. One may be, let me know when deposits come in. So whatever morning your deposit hits Superior, you're gonna get a text letting you know it's there and how much it is. So I feel like I'm kind of rushing, but I feel like,
Well, it's gonna be edited.
yeah, yeah, you guys just have my card. So call me if you have questions. Sign up if you think I'm really gonna need some more help. But if you're really good with it and you wanna get it filled out and get the forms and a copy of your ID and your signer's ID to Kat in the next few days, do that, and then she'll let me know, hey, I've got a few of these here for you, and I'll come get them and get yours started.
Okay, thanks, everybody.
Thank you so much.